Welcome back to The Line. We reached number 6 on our countdown of the top stories of 2021. New Mexico's looming housing crisis. Whether it be the shortage of affordable housing, soaring rental rates, or the rash of evictions, despite so-called moratoriums related to the COVID pandemic, New Mexico is reaching a breaking point. And Jessica, we spent time with you before the pandemic looking at the situation in the Permian Basin, you might recall. With all those transient oil and gas workers, we talked to one person that actually moved to Roswell and commutes to Carlsbad because of the high housing prices there. Has anything changed since we were with you back then?
No, but so we're no stranger to housing crisis here, and you're right, it's linked to our oil and gas industry. And we have been working on solutions since, maybe imperfectly. We've done things like actively recruiting developers to the area. Maybe they focus a little bit more on building hotels and temporary housing. But we have also started to talk about how do we do recruiting for development of single family dwellings and things like townhouses, non-traditional types of housing that you wouldn't see in southeastern New Mexico.
Interesting. Julianne, I got to bump this up to you. Of course, all communities have some affordable housing, but why isn't it a bigger priority, Julianne? I know this is something Santa Fe has struggled with a lot, and there has been announcements of some groundbreaking on some properties to deal with this. But why is it such a struggle in Santa Fe traditionally?
It's about money, from my perspective. I mean, the housing crisis is felt acutely here, and there's a big gap between, the haves and the have-nots classically. I pulled a couple statistics for you in anticipation of this question, and I think that, these speak for themselves. And in the third quarter housing report that's put out by the Santa Fe Association of Realtors, the median single-family home price in Santa Fe is $591,000.
Wow.
And, if you live in a condo or a townhouse, your median is still coming in at $352,000. I just talked to some friends from high school who live in Reading, Pennsylvania, where they own a house on a city street that costs them $58,000.
Right.
So you can really, think about not only how the price of housing in Santa Fe compares to other parts of New Mexico, but really, other parts of the whole country. And I think, you see the government here in fits and starts trying to deal with this with various kinds of regulation. We have an affordable housing ordinance in the city that requires developers to dedicate a certain portion of homes that they build to be sold to a certain income qualified bracket of homeowners at a certain price. But that has not been enough to really change the picture. We're also seeing a lot of multifamily complex construction happening for really the first time in the last few years. There was a big period of time when there were no new apartment complexes in Santa Fe, and average rents here are more than $1,000 a month. So you've also seen activity on the very opposite end of the spectrum, where you're talking about trying to solve the homelessness issue and trying to provide housing for people who have no housing. And you've seen the city and the county both purchase hotels and, renovate them into housing. But, those kinds of solutions really take a long time to attack what is becoming an increasing big problem.
Wow, over almost 600,000. That's scary. Who could afford that? It's amazing. Hey, Dan, we've talked a lot this year about the eviction problem. Searchlight New Mexico has done some great reporting on how evictions are still happening despite those COVID-related moratoriums. What are we missing here on this front? Why? It seems pretty simple and elegant, but it's very bumpy.
Yeah, it's difficult. There's kind of a complicated network of laws dealing with housing and evictions and things like that. And then there are also the ways that just people behave. Many landlords don't want to accept Section 8 tenants just for their own philosophy. They don't want those kinds of tenants, or they're afraid that their other tenants will be mad that they rented to someone who gets a little help. So it's difficult to kind of legislate a solution to this. You also end up with kind of a not in my backyard dynamic where efforts to build more housing or build high density housing often run into opposition from neighborhoods. That is something that politicians respond to. It really is a difficult challenge for New Mexico.
Algernon Online, regular Serge Martinez, we love having him on, does a lot of work in this area and talks about how quick the eviction process is. And I'm curious if, in your view, can't speak for Las Cruces and how the eviction deal works down there, but perhaps we can find some way to slow this down a little bit, because folks are being bumped out in the street fairly regularly at this point.
Well, yes. And so this points to the need for adequate legal services and even just general procedural knowledge. I was just speaking to somebody who is in the midst of a dispute, not an involving eviction, but involving property and title to his property. And basically, it was just at this level of, I can't afford an attorney and I cannot make heads or tails of what I need to do procedurally to advocate for my interests and my legal rights. And in a circumstance where you have so many people who already are contending with a public health emergency, with loss of employment related to that. Perhaps they were sick for a long time and are still sick. In addition to that, you have this legal hurdle of how to hold on to your housing, which if you lose it, immediately exacerbates all of your other problems.
That's right.
Health, physical, economic. And so really, I think that the problem just compounds all of the other issues that New Mexico is facing, which we had pre-pandemic and have been magnified in the midst of the pandemic.
Good point there. Jessica, the state did, as you know, got a lot of federal money to offer housing and rental assistance, but as tradition here, we had problems getting those funds distributed. How do we streamline programs like these?
Well, so I think maybe the big thing to take away from that question is that we all view housing as a basic human right, right? There is this absolute need for it, for shelter. And we want to do everything we can to make sure that if you are entitled to some of those funds to help you ensure that you have housing, you get access to it. As far as streamlining goes, I think this was an unprecedented thing for us. We don't have a lot, in my opinion, we don't have a lot of experience in getting it done smartly and quickly and well. So it's all a learning process for us. I think maybe the bigger question is, how do we make sure that those who are in desperate need are actually understanding what their rights are and can advocate for themselves and are able to speak up and say, hey, I know that you have this this program and I know that you have these funds. I am speaking up because I want access to them. So beginning to advocate for themselves rather than waiting for it to trickle down from the top.
Hey, Julianne, we also hear a lot of calls now for a return to rent control measures. It's amazing for those of a certain vintage. Rent control back in the 70s was kind of a big deal. You know, then it was gone. Is that something we should be looking at again? And does it have a chance in Santa Fe?
I think there's been a contingent in the community that thinks that might be a solution to consider. I think it's interesting the way that Dan framed kind of the decisions that landlords are making around which tenants to accept or not. And there's really this situation where they can be choosy and they can make decisions that, you know, I think to Jessica's point too, are discriminatory, and that people have a right to assert, you know, challenges to that. People can't tell you they won't rent to you because you have children. That's against the law. It's against federal law. And I think that's, you know, there are a lot of circumstances like that are really, this is a private sector situation where people who own property have control and are, you know, really the people who are renting are at their mercy. And I think too that it's, you know, it's incumbent upon people who have stable housing and who do understand the law to also say, to advocate for those people. There's nothing wrong with renting to someone who gets a Section 8 housing voucher. That system is in place in order to give people a better quality of life. And we've recognized as a society that that's what we want. So, you know, we have to continue all the way to actually let them use those vouchers to find homes. And I think that if more people were vocal about that and fewer people were worried about the not in my backyard perspective, maybe we could get somewhere on this.
Good points there. That's all the time we have for this week, but we'll be back next week with our top 5 stories of 2021.